Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you can hear me very well. Are you ready, Dr. Rabia?
Hello, doctor. Yeah, I'm
Hello.
ready.
Good,
I'm
very
ready.
good. Great, thank you. Again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Needless to introduce Dr. Rabia, but just it's a small reminder. Dr. Rabia Khatun Khan works at King Abdulaziz University as a language instructor. She has completed her Bachelor in Education, TEFL, Diploma in TESOL, and IELTS Trainer Certification. She has a master's degree in English Language and Linguistics. Currently, she is a PhD candidate, and her area of interest is language pedagogy. She also works with the Academic Writing Center as a writing consultant and specialist. She has conducted talks, workshops, and poster presentations at several internal and international events since she is particularly committed to her professional development. If you remember 2 weeks ago, thankfully, Dr. Rabia presented about IELTS writing module 1, academic writing, of course, and today she's going to continue with module or task 2. I'm not going to take much of your time, Dr. Rabia, since you're ready. The floor is yours. You can start.
Thank you, Dr. Kamal, for your amazing introduction. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to our session. I'm so glad that we have this opportunity to interact with each other. And particularly, I'm thankful to Academic Writing Center, who gave me this platform to discuss ideas with you. So today, inshallah, we'll be learning about IELTS writing prep task for task 2. And let's continue without further ado. So the objectives of today's session are as follows. So first of all, we'll talk about the format and tasks. Then we will discuss some strategies, and I will show you some examples um, from different sources. And then we will discuss some strategies, some ideas to improve the style of writing for IELTS academic exam. And then we will have some practice. Let's continue. So basically, the task 2 requires of you to spend 40 minutes in total and write 250 words. So if you attended the previous session, we talked about it that it's just 1 hour slot for writing exam, and out of that 1 hour, you have to spend 20 minutes maximum for your task 1, and you have to write 150 words, and the rest of the time, that is 40 minutes, you should spend it wholly and solely to task 2, and you must write at least 250 words. And in this task, you are presented with an idea or an argument, an issue or a problem. And what you're supposed to do is you will present or justify an opinion. You will present your side of ideas related to that topic. Then you might want to compare and contrast some evidence, some opinions, and implications. It all depends upon the type of task that you have for your writing too. We will discuss those in detail one by one. So what this is what is required of you. So you present an idea, you justify that idea, maybe give your opinion if it's asked for. You might want to compare and contrast, and that comparison and contrast should depend upon the evidence and opinions and implications. Like, don't just say that this is good and this is bad. They want us to provide proof to back up our idea. And then we might want to evaluate and challenge ideas, evidence, or an argument. Yani, for instance, if the task requires you to give your opinion, so you might want to go against the task. Like, for instance, the topic is something that you are against. So you need to evaluate and give an idea that is supporting your point of view, and it is valid enough uh, to support your side of the view. Now, question types in the essay structures are there are like 4 paragraph essay structure can essentially be adapted to any IELTS question type. So basically, what we want to do is we will write a 4 minimum paragraph and 5 maximum. 5 is the maximum number, 4 is the minimum number of paragraphs to write in IELTS task 2, writing task 2. So the question type can be agree or disagree, number one. Number two is discuss two opinions. Yes, so we can have one opinion, we can have two opinions. Also, I'll discuss it in coming slides. The third one should be advantages and disadvantages. The names, they are very evident to you. You have done those before. And then we can have causes and solution, any problem and solution essays. And of course, there are some causes behind those problems, and you need to discuss those causes, and then you would want to give solutions to those problems. Then we have another type of essay that might want you to discuss some problem and the effects of those problems. So you need to stick to the prompt itself. Whatever is there in the title, you have to evaluate and then answer accordingly. Then we have problem and solutions essay, like causes and the reasons. We can say pretty much the same. So not every essay will fit one of these patterns, but many do. Okay, so sometimes you might get these tasks mixed up. For example, sometimes you could be asked to give your opinion on an issue and then discuss the advantages and disadvantages of that. So you need to be very careful. And the golden rule is to always read the question carefully to see exactly what you are being asked to do. Okay, so we will do practice related to this, inshallah. Don't worry, and that is super fun kind of practice. So yeah, usually the essay structure is usually the same. You have first introduction paragraph, then you have body paragraphs, and one conclusion paragraph at the end. And this is the basic structure of an essay. Let's talk about the criteria on which the essay is being marked. So basically, uh, in the IELTS writing score, task 2 has 67% of the score value. I'm not very good at maths. I guess it should be 1/3. If someone wants to correct me, why not? Go ahead. But I guess 67% value weightage is for task 2 and 33% is for task 1. So that means task 2 is very important. If I'm right, you can say yes. Yeah, you're right. It's 1/3, is it? Isn't it? So task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resources, and grammatical range and accuracy are the criteria on which we are being marked on. So when we come to task achievement, it all comes down to your clear overview of the topic. Okay, so what you have understood about the topic and how you have responded, that's the task achievement. Then your key features are clearly highlighted and well illustrated as per the requirement of the question. That comes under the jurisdiction of task achievement. And the third one that we need to focus on is how all the requirements have been covered, which is being asked of you in the question. Now, these three things are related to task achievement. If you want to get a full score, you need to work on your clear overview. You need to work on clearly highlighting the key features, and your writing should be well illustrated. And the third thing that you're required to do is all the things that are required of you from the title should be sufficiently covered and very smartly also. We will discuss about it in coming slides. When we come to the coherence and cohesion, so did you effectively connect your ideas, right? So if you are writing haphazard information without any evidence, without any support, that means you don't have any cohesion or coherence in your writing. So your information and ideas should be organized logically. We will learn how to do that, okay? So just be patient. I'm just giving you the overview of everything. And number two that you want to focus in coherence and cohesion is your paragraphing is on point. It should be sleek. Like, for instance, your first paragraph should be introduction paragraph. That should look like introduction paragraph. And whatever is required of introduction, you must include there. When you come to body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, body paragraph 3, it's up to you what number you want to write. You might want to go for 2 paragraphs only, 2 body paragraphs. So your paragraphing should be sufficient to portray what kind of paragraph those are. Okay. Then the lexical resources are about your choice of vocabulary. So if you have a good reading habit, you must have developed good vocabulary and good lexical range. So if you want to get a full score in lexical resources, you should have a wide range of vocabulary for precise meaning or precise context. Then you should have less, if you are skillful enough, you are using less common words, yani more intricate words. And number three, you want to focus on your spelling mistakes. So if you're not making too many spelling mistakes, that means you're good to go. Yani this is what is required of you. And if we talk about grammar range and accuracy, as it's very self-evident that your words are connecting together correctly, you are using a wide structure of grammar, and your sentences are free of errors. So when we talk about wide structure, it means you are using a combination of simple sentence, complex sentence, and complex compound sentence. Okay, not just the same kind of sentence. Not you're not using the simple sentence over and over and again, because it shows how poorly you have been doing your homework when you're getting ready for, task two. Let's move further. So yeah, 25% for your task achievement, 25% for your coherence and cohesion. Now this is the grading details that we are looking at. Then 25% and 25% for lexical resources and grammatical range and accuracy. Let's move past. Task two is assessed on your quality of argument. Basically, what ideas do you have to present? How you will showcase your understanding of the title. Okay, then of course your ideas and evidence should be there to support your points that you will use for your body paragraph. And then communicated quality, how well you have communicated your ideas to the reader. If you are disorganized, it's a total disaster. So you need to be very organized while giving your perspective. And fourth is your vocabulary and sentence structure. So let's look at the structure of the essay. Now, it's the common essay structure that we all know of and we all follow. The first paragraph is introduction, as you know. So introduction is usually short or long. It's a question from you. Do you think introduction should be short or it should be long? Yes, thank you. It should be short. Yeah, short is too short with your reply, Jude. You just wrote S, so we got it. It should be short. How many sentences do you think? How many sentences you should write in introduction? Let me give you some numbers. 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so yeah, 3. Absolutely. We can do 3 is a good number. I love number 3. When we are writing the introduction, why? I'll tell you in detail later. So let's talk about body paragraphs. Body paragraphs, as I mentioned before, you should go for minimum 2 paragraphs and maximum 3 body paragraphs because you just have 40 minutes. Okay, don't waste your time. Don't distract yourself. You need to stick to time period because you're running against the time. 2 body paragraphs minimum. Just write it somewhere in your mind when you're preparing for the task. So in body paragraph, you write of course, the topic sentence. Then you give us supporting details. And to support the supporting details, you need to give us proof and evidence and facts and examples, okay? And then usually we end it with a conclusion sentence, correct? So if we follow the body paragraphs, the first sentence should be topic sentence, the coming sentence should be supporting sentence, and then supporting details. And then the last sentence should be the conclusion sentence of a body paragraph. And then, of course, you will divide, like you will have 2, 3 body paragraphs, and it will all comes down. It all comes down with your information. If you are informed enough, if you are well informed, you can write easily. The conclusion is the last paragraph, the 5th paragraph or 4th paragraph. And in conclusion, as you can see, we summarize the main points and we restate the thesis, okay? And the next sentence, we give recommendation, opinion, or suggestion. So conclusion, should it be long or short? Perfect. It should be very short. Like Jude, Jude is asserting it should be short, and she's just writing S. I like this idea. Like it should be short. That's very interesting. Okay, so I'll give you the number. Okay, so you choose. Okay, I have a favorite number in these three numbers. So you should write one sentence only, two sentence only, or three sentences in conclusion. What do you say? How many sentences? Okay, right. Okay. For me, the ideal number should be two, because here we are using the complex sentences also. Like I mentioned in the beginning, don't just use the simple sentence. No, you need to use upgrade to complex sentences and complex compound sentences. For instance, if you're writing two sentences in conclusion and you're using a complex sentence, then a complex compound sentence, or uh, first complex compound and then complex sentence, you will have just two sentences and it's enough for your conclusion. Okay, don't write too much because you don't have time. Now, as we talked before, introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion, it's pretty much clear to all of you. Apps. Okay, let's look at how we are tackling with the title. So once you are given a title, it has an issue, a problem, that is affecting you or the society or the world, and you need to discuss that. Okay, so what you will do is, number one, read the question carefully. Okay, because reading the question carefully is the key to understand the question. So for that, you need to highlight what is being asked of, what is the main idea of the title. You will identify, after that, you will identify what the issue is, and then you will have to look for one or two keywords. Now, I'll give you some sentences, some questions, okay? And I would ask you to look for the issues here. Now, here we have a question. So I would like you to read the question and then highlight what is the issue being discussed in this question. You might want to open your mic if you want to speak about that, or you can just write it in the message. I'll wait for you. Now, let's read it together. The crime rate among teenagers have increased dramatically in many countries. Discuss some possible reasons for this increase and suggest solutions. Yeah, what is the issue here? Absolutely. Thank you very much. So we have one opinion that it's about the teenagers, crime rate. Then Mr. Abdul Karim is saying that it should be reasons for this increase. Yeah, that's just two responses. Do we have, do we have you here? Any responses from other audience? Yes, absolutely. They're talking about some reasons behind the increase and some solutions. Crime rate reasons and solutions. Thank you. Thank you very much. Absolutely. You're right. Now let's look, what do we have here? The crime rate among teenagers have increased in many countries. So basically, the crime and teenagers are two issues that are being discussed here. Okay. Now, what are we required of doing now? We have seen the problem here. The teenagers committing crime. Now, what have they asked us to do? Are they asking us to do the advantages and disadvantages, or they are asking us to give the reasons and the solution? Option one or two. Advantages or disadvantages, reasons and solution. Absolutely. Very good. Love it. Thank you. Let's move on. Now, we have another question. Now, I want you to look at the question and discuss what is the main idea. So I have three options for you, and you will choose the best options out of best option out of these three options. Let's read the prompt and then choose the correct option for this. I give you like 1 minute to read it. Yes. Mr. Abdul Karim has mentioned that it should be A, working from home. Rashida Rashid thinks that it should be A again. Wazir Ali, they think it's B. Dr. Musarat Parveen thinks it's telecommunicating. Ibrahim and Rida, they think it's B. So most of the people are going with option B. Okay, let's find out. Yay! Those who said B, they are correct. On point, on spot. Very good. So let's move on. So the basic idea in this question was telecommunicating. So when you're looking at the topic, you need to find um, what is the main idea in that particular question. Okay. So with that, you will continue to develop your, discussion and your supporting details. Next, now look at this question. What is the main idea in this question? You mentioned that yeah, but we are being more specific, we are talking about something that is more specific. Working from home is general. Yeah, you can work from home using a computer, but here we are being more specific, and you need to narrow down what you are looking for. Okay, so let's look at this question and find out what is the main idea here, please. Yeah, what do you think is the main idea here? Oh, yes. Dr. Nahid said it's A. Dr. Musarraf thinks it's A. Everybody is of this. We are at the same page. A. Absolutely. Why are we choosing A? Because A is more specific, whereas B is animals, but it's more general. So we have to be very specific with, with figuring out the idea behind a question. Okay. So animal research. So your ideas are correct. The third question. What do you think is the idea behind this question? You think it's C. So we have read the question, and everybody think it's C. Let's find out if it's C or something else. Absolutely. See, we need to narrow down what we are dealing with. Okay, so it's a long question. Just highlight the key idea and then think about that key idea. This is the first step we do when we have a question in front of us. Let's move on. Now, this might be the look of your question. Yeah, they mentioned that you have 40 minutes to do this task, and you will write about following topic. Then you will have a topic, and they will mention you need to write 250 words. Now, this prompt is an agree or disagree prompt. Okay, so as you can see, the question says, in the last 20 years, there have been significant developments in the field of information technology. For example, the World Wide Web and communication by email. However, these developments in IT are likely to have more negative effects than positive in the future. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Now they have asked you, agree or disagree. You know that you will do that. Give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own experience or knowledge. So now they are asking you to work and of course giving your opinion. When you give your opinion, you might want to give examples from your life or someone who you know closely. So this was our prompt. Now let's see what we have further. So we will find out what is the main idea behind this. Okay. So once we have a title in front of us, we will look for what is the information being required of. So what is the main idea here in this question? Anyone who want to share their thoughts on this? What is the main idea of this question? Effects of IT, development of IT, yeah, everything related to IT. Excellent. Perfect. Thanks for responding. Now, and of course, after, yeah, negative and positive points of IT, yeah. So when you're writing an introduction, the first thing that we do is we paraphrase. We paraphrase the question. Now, why do we paraphrase? Yes, anyone who wants to tell us why do we paraphrase? Of course, number one, we want to let them know that we have ample amount of vocabulary. Okay, we are good at vocabulary. Okay, it's a criterion. Yeah, focus, avoid repetition, absolutely, to avoid plagiarism, to write the words using your own. Yeah, you use your own words to show the understanding of the title, and of course to show off how good you are at lexical resources and how you have understood the question. That's the point of paraphrasing. So it's a must. You need to paraphrase when you're starting it. You're writing your introduction. Now let's move on. So the question was about IT, and let's keep our introduction short. As we talked about before, we should have 3 sentences only. Okay, we will broad background statement. The first thing that we do, broad background statement. Then we will paraphrase the question, and then we will write thesis statement. Okay, thesis statement is like most wanted kind of sentence in every essay. So inshallah, we'll talk about in detail. So let's see the introduction. It's a sample for the topic that we just saw, and we have two sentences here. We have 2 sentences. It's a short introduction, but we have a combination of complex sentence and complex compound sentence. Now, if you look at the first sentence, it's basically giving us an overview, and in a nutshell, it's the paraphrase of the question itself. And the second sentence is the thesis statement. Okay, how do we know that this is thesis statement? Because it gives the intention of the writer about the topic itself, like if it's a good thing or a bad thing. IT is advantages, is it positive or negative, or what kind of belief do they have about the development in IT? Okay, now, as you can see, the writer is saying that they agree that technological advances have brought many benefits to the world, but they strongly believe that it will result in more negative impacts than positive, right? So they have given us, yeah, to make it clear, they have given us the intention of the writer, that yes, they will write about the advantages, but they will write more about the disadvantages, right? Yeah, and we don't give the clear cut, uh, against. No, we need to prove our point first, talk the other side. Like we have to write about the other side also, and then we give our own perspective on the topic. So the number one paragraph should be about the advances, as we can see from the thesis statement. Okay, because they mention advances first, then they say I strongly believe it has more negative things, so they will write negative things. Okay, after in first paragraph. So let's look at the first paragraph. They are starting it with what? They are starting it with a phrase on the positive side. See, that's kind of a transition phrase that gives us an idea that this paragraph is about something positive. Okay, so we need to be very careful with the choice of transition phrases and transition words and all that. Leave the drawbacks to the end. Absolutely, I completely agree with you. So now they have mentioned what kind of positive things that we have in IT. So you think about the IT. Okay, communication makes communication easier. Education, business, right, and globalization. So we can come up with number of advantages of the IT. So yeah, you can sum up those numbers, like let's say 3, 4 advantages that you can think of. You just arrange those in a regular, organized manner, and then you give us examples. As we mentioned before, don't just display a supporting idea, but you need to give example to back up that idea. So here we have, for example, people can access news, medical advice, online education, courses, and much more via internet. Okay. And what it has done, it has made our life easier and convenient. So it's a good and well developed paragraph, isn't it? I am sure that many of you will agree, but you're not mentioning if you agree or disagree. But I think it's a good paragraph. Yeah, Mr. Kamal, he says it's a good paragraph. Let's move on. Let's now. This was first body paragraph with all the good things about internet because we mentioned it in the thesis statement. Now let's look at the negative side. So okay, so what is the controlling idea here is the controlling idea is benefit of IT. Okay, so in the first paragraph we are talking about benefit of IT. Let's look at the negative side. As in the thesis statement they said there is more negative than positive, so let's wait for the negative things. And of course they're starting with the transition. Nevertheless, the effect of this technology have not all been beneficial, and they are making it clear that this paragraph is going to be about some opposite side of the IT. For instance, they are giving us example about how people are feeling, right? While using the IT. So we can count the bad side of IT on our fingertips, right? It's wasting time. People are very less communicative now because they're busy using the IT. The traditional forms of communication is being destroyed, and people's basic ability to socialize is very much affected by using the um, IT. Now they are giving us examples why they think uh, it's negative, because people's ability to socialize is not functional anymore in many parts of the world. Let's move on to the next body paragraph. Like first body paragraph was the good reason. Second body paragraph was the reasons for why it is negative. And the third body paragraph, as you can see, we are going to talk about other bad things that the web is offering us. In addition, see, they have started it with in addition. That means they are continuing. It's developing cohesion. Okay, so it is impossible to regulate and control. What do you mean by regulation and control? So as obviously the words are very evident that the children can access many websites which are questionable, which are not good for their mental health. And of course we might get computer viruses, people might steal our data, and IT theft and all the bad things that might happen if you are not well protected. Okay, so this was our final body paragraph, and then we will give the conclusion. That should be maximum 2 sentences. Few of you want to write 3 sentences, up to you, but 2 sentences is a good number. So when you're writing a conclusion, how do you start a conclusion? What do you do when you want to write a conclusion paragraph? Do we start it directly, or do we start it with a transition phrase? Yeah. Yes, Jude, thank you. To sum up, in conclusion, absolutely. Or to conclude, yeah. We use, yes, Mr. Kamal said suitable transition words or signals, conclusion words, absolutely. Then we restate the thesis statement, okay? And then we give our personal opinion if it is asked from in the title. Okay, why do we restate the thesis statement? Why not we write something else other than the thesis statement? Is it necessary to restate the thesis statement? Do you think is it necessary, or do we write something else, like an entirely different story? Oh yeah. Why? Because it unified the whole essay. So introduction and conclusion are closely related. They are interlinked together. If we are writing apples and bananas, like totally two different things, it's going to waste the beauty of your essay. To develop coherence, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. You have enlightened us with your ideas. I'm so glad. Conclusion. And see, we have a conclusion here, and they are giving us the reinstatement of the introduction, the thesis statement, There are many benefits, yet they believe that they are outweighed by the drawbacks. Signposting language, yeah. In the future, there will be addressed if yeah. So now at the end, I'm giving my own opinion. Like in future, we need to address this problem if we want to avoid further damaging our society. So see what we did here. Number one, we used a conclusion. We have used the transition. Then we reinstated the thesis statement. Okay, in the first sentence, and in the last sentence, we are giving our own opinion, right? So it's a good conclusion, and it's short, and it's to the point. So I think we should get full mark for this, isn't it? It's we can compliment ourselves. So this is not my essay, but this is someone else's, but I can give it the full mark. Let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, let's talk about introduction, then body paragraph and conclusion detail. Okay, I know it sounds boring, but we need to do this, right? So introduction is the first paragraph. It gives your first impression. So it should be strong. It should be powerful. Your reader, your grader should be impressed by looking at the introduction. It's the few sentences that you need to write. We just mentioned that we need to write 3 sentences in introduction, and we introduce the topic in the sentence in this introduction, and we paraphrase the topic itself. And by doing that, by doing the paraphrasing, we define that what we have understood about the title, okay, and what is your approach going to be about this essay. Like we just did a sample where we were talking about IT. So in the introduction, we mentioned what is my approach going to be, that I will talk about advantages, but I will talk about disadvantages more. Now, the most important thing in writing an introduction should be a thesis statement. It's usually very difficult, and students find it really frustrating to do because it's very tricky, but it's not very tricky. You have to be like very clear and very confident about what you're thinking about that title. Thesis statement is the essential part of an essay introduction, and it is important that you know where to put it and how to write it. So thesis statement, as we know from our knowledge, that we need to use the third sentence as thesis statement. Okay, so third or second sentence, like the last sentence of the introduction. Okay, if you are getting it wrong, it will impact your score, right? And it could impact the opinion of the grader, that they might think that you are not very clear about your intention of dealing with the title. Okay, so we need to be very sure what we are writing in thesis statement. Now, what is a thesis statement? It is basically telling us about the essay that we are writing, okay, and what is our opinion in that matter. And it is the last sentence of introduction, and we don't mix it up with the topic of your essay, because the topic of his essay is usually the beginning of the introduction only. Okay, so as we mentioned, we paraphrase the topic, we give the overview, and the last sentence should be thesis statement. Don't mix it up. Like if they're asking you to talk about some advantages and disadvantages of a particular phenomena, so you will just start. So I think there are some advantages, but there are more disadvantages. Or you say, I think there are few disadvantages, but in my opinion, there are many advantages that we can look at. So that is your thesis statement. Okay, don't mix it up with the title itself. Now, how do you write thesis statement? Let's look at the sentence. Let's look at the prompt here. We have a question, and yeah, thank you. You are absolutely right. Bashar says it's the key idea of the theme. Absolutely. Indicates the contents of the body paragraph. Love it. This is a very good, it is summing up what the thesis statement should be. Like it's deciding the contents of the body paragraph that we are going to cover. Now, this is a question in front of you. Okay. So what kind of thesis statement you are looking for? Okay. Let's look at the question itself. What kind of question that is? Is it an agree or disagree question? Is it an advantage or disadvantage question? A problem solution question? What question is this? A global trade increases. Many goods, including those we use on daily basis, are produced in other countries and transported long distance. Do the benefits of this trend outweigh the drawbacks? What kind of question is this? What do you think? Is it agree or disagree? Number one, advantages or disadvantages, problem and solution, causes and advantages, pro and con, plus and minus, absolute, positive and negative, advantages and disadvantages. Yeah. So let's see. Okay. Now, if you have done the scanning of the prompt, you need to find out what kind of thesis statement you are using here. Okay. So the first sentence that they wrote is they paraphrase the question itself. Okay. And the second sentence is the opinion that they have, the thesis statement. So in their opinion, this has more disadvantages than advantages. Okay. Now, how do you break down your body paragraphs now? On what basis? It's very evident from this prompt. Is what? You will write about more disadvantages and of course advantages also. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But we will talk about more. We will write about like two of these, not just one side, but two of these. We will have advantages paragraph, maybe one, and two disadvantages paragraph. And yeah, we will write negative first. You can say that, or if you can invert, you can say advantages, yeah, and it has lesser benefits. And if you want to say it has more benefits, let's go for it. If you think it has more benefits. Where is the, okay. Now, let's look at another topic. Okay, there is a trend towards the use of alternative forms of medicine. However, these days, these methods are ineffective and at worst, they may be dangerous. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? Now, as it's clearly showing that the question is agreeing or disagreeing, but what is it about? What is the basic idea of this question? Yeah, it's very evident from the prompt itself. Yeah, alternative medicine, absolutely. We are looking at alternative medicines and how effective they are, if they are good or not good. Yeah, we can say it. So what we will do is we will give both sides. Okay, you know, effectiveness and ineffectiveness of alternative form of medicine. Okay. Now I'm giving you three introductions. Okay, and the underlined sentence is the thesis statement. Now let's look at these three introductions and let's find out what has been said here. First sentence was a broad overview. See, alternative medicine is not new. It's a broad overview. Then we are giving us a background of the title itself. And by the end, we are going to look at the thesis statement. However, if you strongly believe it doesn't work at all, you will say it is dangerous to those who are using. Now, in the first sample, you can see the writer is strongly convinced that this kind of medicine is not good. Okay, so what we are expecting of the writer is they will just write about the dangers of alternative medicine, right? Isn't it? Yeah, you're right. Then the second one is, if we look at the thesis statement, I'm unconvinced that it is dangerous and feel that both alternative and conventional medicine can be useful. Okay, now what are you expecting of the writer? They're saying I'm unconvinced that it's dangerous, and they say I think they're both useful, right? So what are we expecting of now? Is the essay going to be about only about benefits? Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's about benefits because they say it's useful. And then they mentioned two things at the same time, simultaneously. They're saying alternative and conventional medicine. So that means we are expecting the paragraphs related to these two types of medicine. Let's look at the third thesis statement. I agree that for certain conditions, this type of medicine is ineffective and could be dangerous, but for some illness, it is a good alternative choice. Clearly, we have two body paragraphs here. Number one, it can be dangerous. Number two, it can be a good choice. So it's very careful play of words. So that's how we manipulate with the words, and we have to be very careful. Don't outline what you have intended to outline, but you are being very careful with the use of words so that it doesn't, highlight what are your actual intentions are. Now, cause and effect essays, we have some kind of sentence, questions that are cause and effect. For instance, the percentage of overweight children in Western society has increased by almost 20% in last 10 years. So they are asking us to discuss the cause and effects of this disturbing trend. So what we'll do is we will write the introduction with the thesis statement. And here you can see thesis statement. It says there are some reason why it occurs and what are the consequences of the worrying trends. So it's clearly depicting that they will have two bodies in the body paragraph, one with the reasons and the second one with the consequences or the results. Now, for IELTS, you should have 2 to 3 body paragraphs, no more, no less, because you just have 40 minutes, okay? You should have one controlling idea. You have sentences to support that, and then you will have, everything related to support your sentences or details. Now, let's look at a sample, and there's something wrong with the sample, okay? So I want you to look very carefully and point out what is wrong with this paragraph. Now we are switching our attention to something else. Now, what do you think is wrong with this? Is there any problem with language? I don't think so. Language is not a problem, I guess. Opinion in the first essay has 2 main benefits. It's the body paragraph, by the way. Yeah, it can. The first sentence is topic sentence. Grammatical errors. Where are grammatical errors? Okay. Now it's very simple. It's like it's evident they haven't used any transition here. See, the paragraph itself has all the points like supporting idea, introductory, topic sentence, supporting idea and supporting details, and conclusion sentence. But they haven't written any conclusion, any transition words. That means their paragraph is not coherent. Okay, it needs to be fixed by using correct transition words, right? Linkers, yeah, linkers firstly, then as a consequence, for example, all in all. So it is supporting to build up the structure of the paragraph. So that means we need to focus on the lexical quality of the paragraph itself. If you have all the good reasons, all the good evidence, but if you're not linking it together, yeah, it's going to be a problem for us. Now, studying, okay, the topic sentence, we talked about studying abroad has 2 main benefits, right? So, as you mentioned, studying has 2 main benefits. That means we have to mention what are those 2 main benefits, right? How do we mention it? We need to add firstly and secondly, or first and foremost, and then you will add whatever linkers you want to use. Okay, you have to explain and develop the topic sentence, and then you will discuss the topic sentence by explaining the ideas and more examples and facts and statistics. So don't just say that it's beneficial, but why is it beneficial, right? Now, if you have this topic, you will jot down some ideas, like why is it beneficial uh, to get education from abroad, from studying abroad. What are the good things? Okay, so we can have people have more resources. they can have better qualifications, they have better experience, and that will help them to get more pay and promotion. Okay, now this is the reason why we should get education abroad. Now, what is the result of that is you will have a good standard of life, right? So we are giving reasons and result side by side. Second supporting idea could be it will give you independence or whatever you have in your mind, like learning a new language, developing a good social life. It's up to you. I just have these two ideas here, so I just gave I'm presenting those ideas only. So the example of the second supporting idea is they know how to cope with the challenges in life. They know how to live alone in a different culture. Okay. And what will be the result of that? They will be confident. They will have good relationships with people around them. Okay. So we are developing the supporting sentence, and that we are giving the details why I am supporting this idea. Then conclusion, all in all, it's a good thing to go outside and study. Now let's look at the conclusion. As we talked before, conclusion should be like two sentences, and it should summarize your ideas, and it should give your final decision, your recommendation, your opinion, your stance on that. Okay. Now let's look at the connection between the introduction and conclusion. Why are they connected so closely? So someone in the messages mentioned before that brings the unity in the essay, and that's very true. Okay. Now let's look at some samples, and we will see how they are interconnected. We have a question here. Currently, there is a trend towards the use of alternative forms of medicine. Okay, and these are ineffective, or worse, they may be dangerous. So we have done it before. Now the introduction is this. Okay, and then the conclusion is related to the introduction directly, right? In the conclusion, they are reinstating the introduction itself, and then at the end, they are just giving their opinion. Okay, so see how interconnected they are. They have mentioned alternative medicine, and of course, they are repeating the same words in conclusion. Conventional and alternative therapies or medicine should coexist. Okay, now they have given three sentences. I'm convinced that it is dangerous in the introduction, but in the conclusions, they say they have different strengths and they can be both useful. And the best solution for that is to be used and support with complement with conventional medicine. So they are giving us their opinion by the end. Let's look at another topic. Topic is global warming and the serious issue the world is facing now. What are the causes of global warming and what we can do to fix it? Government and individual. So introduction and conclusion. Let's read them together, and let's see they are reinstating the introduction and the conclusion also, right? Very closely connected. Now, the thesis statement is the essay will examine the reasons why global warming is occurring and discuss some possible solution, right? So, and then we are giving this opinion. So basically, you have to reinstate what you have said in introduction. Some prompts are problem solution essays, like internet has transformed the way the information is shared and consumed, but it also has created some problem that did not exist before. Now we are looking at some different types of essay, and they want us to talk about some serious problems and solutions associated with that. Okay. Now this is introduction. And introduction has the thesis statement, which says it has serious problem and there are some solutions. So we can expect that we will talk about problems and solutions in 2 paragraphs. So let's look at the types of problem they are talking about. The first problem is for children. They can access potentially dangerous sites. And of course, the example. The second problem is what? Where is second problem? Can you see the second problem? Do you have any idea where the second problem is? Yes, it's right in front of you. Another major problem. See, the first one was children being potentially exposed to dangerous sites. Another problem is online fraud. Okay, so we have 2 problems here, right? Let's move on. Then we have a solution paragraph. Let's look at the solution paragraph and what kind of solution is given here. Okay. So the first solution is legislation. Okay. And that is related to who? Parents or government? Who can do the legislation, parents or government? So we will find out. We have to discuss it like in different perspective. So we will involve the government, we will involve the companies, we will involve the parents also. So the first solution is from the government. The second solution is from the parents, right? So government has done legislation. What are parents doing? They should play their part. They should monitor their children's and all that. And the third thing is introduced as companies that they should have secure IT systems so that we don't get involved in fraud. Okay. So now then we have a conclusion. You know how to do the conclusion. Now let's look at how many problems are discussed in that essay. The essay that we have just discussed now. How many problems are there? Yes, we have just 2 problems. Very good. And yeah, you're right. Second, what are those problems? Anyone who wants to mention? What are those 2 problems? Yes, we have fraud, yes, and children safety. Now, children safety and ethical, values really attached to that and the fraud. Yeah. And what expressions are used to introduce the problems? Okay, we cannot look back, but I'll give you the answers. Okay, let's not talk ourselves. The first we use one of the first problem is internet and another major problem. So we are using some phrases to introduce the problems. Okay, how are the problems illustrated further? So they have given us examples, isn't it? They have further described the problem and they gave examples. So see how they do it, for example, and these days and all that. So what results are discussed for each problem? Like if the problem number 1 was children can access potentially harmful sites, what results are discussed with this problem? And of course, growth of online fraud and hacking. Do we remember? I think we don't remember it. So we don't want to go back because we don't have much time. Let's look at the answers. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, how it has a negative impact on the children and the society. And the second one was the fraud and resulting in information falling into the wrong hands and all that. Now let's talk about the solution. How many solutions are given in the body paragraph 2? Absolutely, we have 3 solutions. Amazing. What are those? Okay, what are those solutions? What are those? Solution number 1 was, yeah, government doing legislation. Yes. What was solution number 2? Yeah, parents doing what? Parents are, of course, the factors performing something, but what solution they are adopting? Yeah, control the activity, monitor the activity, restrict the access. And what was the third solution? The companies. Yeah, companies are the factors who are working to get this done. They are improving their security system. Okay. Perfect. We are on the same page, all of us. I'm so glad about it. Now, there are different type of people involved in these solutions. So those people are, as you already mentioned, and of course we know about it already, is number 1, the government, number 2, the parents, number 3, the company. So these are stakeholders to protect, web and all the things that is happening with the technology. Now, how would the solution be implemented? Stricter criteria for accessing. So this is what we are looking for in an essay. You are giving all the details what is required of you. They asked us the about the problems and they asked us to give us some solution and we are supporting our ideas with the evidence. So we have to be very detailed about it. And we use model words to give the structure to the paragraph, to make suggestion, like it should, they have to, they need to, they must, and all that. Like model verbs are easy to understand. Like if you are giving suggestion or advice, you use it all the time. Okay, so we have agree, disagrees, and discuss two opinions and advantages and disadvantages. We have some opinion essays that is related to these three, and they might ask for our opinion. Discuss. Sometimes we have one opinion prompt. For instance, the first one is advances in technology and automation have reduced the need of manual labor. Okay, therefore working hours should be reduced. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Okay, now here we are just talking about one thing: advances of technology and automation, right? uh, so this is one opinion essay, and you just are given with one opinion and then ask specifically if you agree or disagree. Okay, or to what extent do you do that, and make it clear if you agree, and if you agree or disagree partly, you have to mention in details. Now, there are another types of essay which have two opposing opinion. Like we had one opinion essay, now we have two opinion essay, though those who are opposing each other. So, opinion number one is a growing number of people feel that animals should not be exploited by people and they should have the same rights as humans. And there is second opinion, while others argue that humans must employ animals to satisfy their various needs, including food and research. Discuss both views and give your opinion. See, so we might have this kind of title where you are given with two opposing ideas and you will discuss both. And what will you do is you will talk about both and give your opinion. Okay, for instance, if you think opinion number two is good, why don't go ahead and give your evidence to support why you agree with that. Okay, and at the end you don't give your clear cut opinion with that. You can say, yeah, both of these can be workable as long as we are careful with the general well-being of animals. Why not? There can be a complex essay question. Complex essay question has many dimensions going on. Let's look at this sample. What do we have here? So the first sentence, what is the main idea in the first sentence? This is a prompt of complex essay question. What is the main idea of the first question, first sentence? Yeah, types of music. So we are not sticking to just one type of music, and we are talking about the world as a whole, the world in general, types of music in world. So the second sentence, so why do we need music? Now, the examiner want us, number one, to talk about types of music. Number two, to talk about why we need music. We need music, right? The third sentence states that is the traditional music of a country more important, or should it be preserved, or is international music is more useful to the society, right? So the third part is a different story altogether. Of course, they're talking about music, but they're comparing the traditional and international music. So this is a complex question, right? So let's know how to do that. We have to break down what is being asked us up to do. So the first one was, of course, in general introduction, we'll talk about the music. So why do we need music? Why is traditional music important? Yeah, you're right, Mr. Follow up. Yeah, these are the questions that we form in our head while doing brainstorming to know what we are supposed to write. Okay, so if I have this topic, I'll just think about why that the person is asking why do we need music. So I will support why. Then we will have some discussion about traditional music and should it be preserved. Why not? I will totally agree to preserve traditional music because this is the culture that every society has. So, and then I'll go ahead and write about the international music as general and why is it important and which is most important. So let's just look at introduction and conclusion of this question, and then we'll move on. And if you look at those two paragraphs, they are very, very smartly worded. We are not just arguing for traditional music, nor the international music, but we are trying to play in the level, yani plain level ground, and we are supporting both, right? And we are telling us that people listen to music for enjoyment, and as long as they're enjoying it, all this kind of music is good. So see how smartly they have done it. They're not taking sides. So the lesson is, if you have a complex question, try to remain impartial. That's the best strategy. Now, this is a sample from one of my students, an amazing student. She was a gem, and we were doing some preparation for her IELTS exam, and I'm sharing her writing with her consent, okay? So I asked her, and she said, go ahead, teacher, do it. So her topic was overpopulation in the world is the most serious environmental problem. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for that and relevant examples. Okay, so that basic idea here is overpopulation. And then, of course, overpopulation is a problem. And what part of is agreement or disagreement. Okay, let's read her response and let's grade it. So she has given us 3 sentences. And the first sentence, as you can see, what she has done in the first sentence is she paraphrased, which is very smart, isn't it? And then they are giving us, yes, yeah, the first sentence was general. And then they are giving, however, in this essay we'll be discussing overpopulation in particular. So they are giving a general, picture behind it, and then they're coming down, narrowing down that we will talk about overpopulation. Then they are giving the thesis statement. They're giving us a thesis statement. The rapid rise of population means more human waste and less space for nature to grow, which leads to our environment falling apart. So that means we have 2 things to discuss here. More population causes more human waste and lesser space for nature to grow. That means we are expecting them to write about, pollution and the impact on the nature, right? So this, we assume that it is a thesis statement. So how do you think they have worded it? Do you like the wording, or what kind of improvements they might do to make it a better paragraph? What do you say? Isn't it a good paragraph, or do we need to do something else with that? Okay, yeah, it is okay, not bad. It's a commendable job, by the way. They have used good transition words. They have given us an overview. They're trying to paraphrase, and then they're giving us a thesis statement. Yeah, good. I think she should use pronoun I, not we. Yes. Yeah, we can think about it. Yes. And then we have 2 body paragraphs. So they started with, first of all, that's a good sign. That means the student is on track. They are doing the unity. They are practicing the coherence and cohesion idea behind it. So first, we mentioned they're talking about human toxic wastes and the damages it is doing to the environment as general, right? Then they are giving us some evidence and examples and details. There's some grammar mistake, yeah, understandably, yes, there are, because it's the actual essay from one of my students. So yeah, we can see, yeah, grammar mistakes are there. But let's look at the ideas, how they are jotting down the ideas, not only the the grammatical structure. So for the first body paragraph, they are telling us all about the harms that is caused by the human toxic waste, such as paper, plastic, cleaning materials, pollution, and all that. Okay, they are giving solution at the same time. They say it can be avoided by recycling. Okay, and in addition, some substances and elements that are harmful, for instance, burning fossil fuel, uh, is the main reason behind air pollution. Uh, so far we are going good, I guess. Like they have given us the samples example. The second one was having lesser space for nature. Nature is not blooming, right? We are cutting down the trees to make buildings and houses and plain fields for the farmers. So that means we don't have nature working properly. And then they summed up by reinstating the introduction, and then they said, I think that we should work collectively to make a difference to save our planet. It's a safe conclusion using very smart language. Now let's move on. What can I do to come up with good ideas? Now, read a lot. So if you are appearing for IELTS tests, you need to read a lot of topics. We have some broad topics like education, like health, diet, and fitness. We have topics related to work and unemployment, crime, children and families, environment, transportation, technology. These are general topics. So why not go ahead and read casually? Like we are always on our gadgets. So let's download something, open websites, and let's read the general topics. Then brainstorming ideas. So if you are planning to take the exam, you need to know how to brainstorm and plan. So it's basically you write down your ideas that comes into your head about a particular question, and you assess which ones are related more, which ones are important, and which ones are not. So you do the scrutiny, and then at the end you do ask why questions. That is a very interesting activity if you're planning for your IELTS. So when you are asking why questions, you basically are trying to brainstorm the ideas in clear understanding. For instance, people living in 21st century generally have better quality of lives than people born in earlier centuries. To what extent do you agree, right? So yeah, it brings out the critical thinking amongst the test takers. So why do you think life is better now as compared to before? Now that's my first question if I'm writing on this topic. The second question should be, why are we healthier now? Why not we are talking about the people in the earlier centuries? And what else we can think of? So why do you think is life better now? Any suggestion, any ideas from you? No ideas. Okay. Should I give my idea? I think you have amazing ideas, but more care to environment. So we are talking about the people from 21st century. So we think that our life is better as compared to people from before. So Shehla, they mentioned that it's health and medicine. Yes, people are healthier. Yeah, because we have access to medical care. This is one of the idea that I'm thinking of. And of course, we have modern technology. Now, why are people in 21st century healthier? Yeah, people have more access to medicine. And what else? We have awareness, we have technology, we have access to clean food, safe food. Scientific, inventions are making so many good changes in the world to develop, better living opportunity and all that. Now, if you are writing your essay, you need to use a good, set of vocabulary. Okay, so you should use transition to develop coherence and cohesion. So we have samples here, new ideas, examples, results, contrast, time, concluding comments. Just go ahead and read it. So you can use all of these to develop good, unity in the paragraph. And then you should have transitional phrases for essays. For instance, it has been argued that it's a good phrase. You can write it somewhere and use it whenever you're writing an essay. Some people claim, argue, believe, or think that. So, see, you are using this phrase to introduce someone else's idea, not yours, but you are assigning those ideas to some other audience. An argument commonly put forth, and we have some more examples of transitional phrases for essay writing. Then we need to use pronouns and coherency. It should be there. We can use personal pronouns. We can use demonstrative pronouns like this, that, these, those, just to refer back. Okay, don't use the actual noun again and again. It will be repetitive and will not be good. So you need demonstrative pronouns to talk about, to write about the thing that you have mentioned before. And then, of course, synonyms. You use it to paraphrase. So these are the similar words, and also the same the words which has the same meaning, but with, of course, the different words. And thank you very much. I'm so glad that I had this opportunity to talk to you. And I have a quiz. I would like you to. It's a short quiz. Um, I will send you the link in the chat box. Um Give me a second. I'll just turn on the screen. Just wait. Stay with me, okay? I'm sending you the link to the quiz. And this is like just a small quiz, 14 or 15 questions to do that. Yeah. So please join the quiz. You will click the link and then I will start the quiz. It might probably take 5 or 6 minutes. We will finish at 9:30 anyway. Thank you everybody for joining our session. I'm so glad that everybody was so present. You gave us your opinion and your answers, and it has been a good day for me. Thank you. Let's join the quiz and then I'll start. I will share the screen with you, the quiz screen. Yeah, this is our screen, right? I guess you will have it in a minute. Yeah. So far, we just have 9 participants. That is disappointing. I was expecting more of you to join in. It's a very fun activity. Let's do it. Thank you very much. I'm just looking through the messages. It's very encouraging. Uh, yeah, only 10 of you have joined the quiz. That's sad. Like, it's not very encouraging. 11. Yes, everybody, you all have technology with you, and you people are tech savvy. So why not? It's an easy peasy game. Just go ahead, join the link. I'll copy paste the link again for those who haven't have it before. Only 13. Come on, please join. I have pasted the link again. So I'll start the quiz. So only these amazing people have joined the link, and I'm still waiting for more. Come up. Thank you very much, Miss Humaira. I really appreciate your, compliments. So should we start? We just have 13 participants. Okay, let's start because we don't have enough time. You can start along when we are doing it. Yeah, let's start. So yeah, right. We are almost done, inshallah. Thank you very much for participation, and we can see the top players. And yeah, so I think we should end it. Like it's taking up some time. Uh, I hope you have enjoyed our session, and let's look at the top scorers. And I hope you have learned something from today's session. If you have any question or any thing to say, you can go ahead and ask. Maybe you can write. So the first position belongs to Ibrahim, then second is Abdul Karim, and then third is Shella. Mabruk. Very congratulations. uh, Thank you very much for coming and being here with me for the session.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rabia. As usual, you did a great job for the second time, actually. I'm sharing the evaluation form for those who are interested in getting or receiving their certificates, ladies and gentlemen. So please do complete it before you leave if you need the certificate. Thank you again, Dr. Rabia, and thank you all participants for your enrichment of the interaction. a very useful, very outstanding, very comprehensive second workshop, mashallah. Thanks a lot.
You are welcome, doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next workshop is going to be next Wednesday, the 24th of May, about writing a research proposal by Dr. Muhammad Mansour, inshallah. Stay tuned.